Hi guys, I know what you're thinking. This is a very strange introduction to an exercise video because it doesn't look like I'm about to go on exercise, okay? So this is actually a fantastic exercise for your pulling muscles, primarily your lats, also your teres major, and to some degree you could say maybe your scapular retractors, your lower traps, etc. But we don't need to worry too much about that for the moment. All I'm concerned with is giving you guys an option that you can do at home when you have no other equipment available. So in general, it's quite easy to train the chest, train the legs, etc. when you're at home because there's lots of options, but people are often, stumped when it comes to thinking about what they could do for their back. So this is basically going to be an isometric pull down variation. So what you're going to want to do, guys, is basically sit at a desk or the kitchen table or something like that. Ideally, if you can plant your feet, especially if you're a stronger person, that's going to be quite important. So my feet are planted under my desk. My knees, as you can see, are underneath the top of the desk so that when I'm pulling down, I'm going to be a bit more stable. Just like if you were doing a standard pull down variation, you'd have your knees locked in. And this is going to look ridiculous, but you can make it as hard as you want, okay? So basically what I'm going to be doing is putting my arms into this position, just like I'm doing a pull down, and I'm going to pull down as hard as I possibly can and hold that isometric, okay? An isometric contraction is where you are basically increasing the tension on a muscle, but you're not changing its actual length. So you are producing force, and it can lead to strength gains and muscle gains, but you're doing so without it being a movement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant my elbows. You can close your hands if you want like this, or you can keep them open, pretend you're actually doing a pull down. Adjust your seat height to make it more comfortable. And what I'm going to do is basically think, okay, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, and ramp it all the way up until 100%. And then you can hold that for basically as long as you want, to be honest. I would say 30 to 60 seconds is a nice way to kind of do this. You'll feel your force starting to drop off, you'll feel yourself fatiguing, and then you can do that for multiple sets. But this is one way to get a training stimulus. So here we go. So 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70, 80, 90, 100. And then I'm going to hold. I'm basically going to do that for 30 to 60 seconds. But I know that looks ridiculous and people don't think about this as being kind of an exercise. But what you have to realize, guys, is that when we're in the gym, when we're using any piece of equipment, all we are doing is finding some way that we can put a challenge on our muscles, on our joints, so that we have to produce sufficient force. In this case, you have something that is not going to move. So the maximum force that you're going to get in return is the maximum force that you can actually produce. So it's essentially like, having a pull down, pulling down, but the weight being so heavy that you can't move it. You're still doing as much work as you're actually able to do, even though you're not moving through an actual large range of motion. So give it a shot, guys, and we'll have some other videos related to other muscle groups and how you can implement isometrics into your training at home.